When mysterious men with guns burst into her house in the middle of the night, Nicki Minaj and her entire family fled to an undisclosed location. Since she began exposing industry titans like Jay-Z, Nicki has been the victim of attacks lately. She was arrested in Amsterdam not too long ago for no apparent reason, and according to sources, it was actually an attempt on her life. However, she managed to escape alive because she immediately posted on Instagram to inform everyone that she was being held. As if all of that wasn't shady enough, strange men have now been showing up at her house, and her home has been the scene of 3 SWAT calls in the last year alone. Nicki is done remaining silent, and she is now sharing all the details of everything she has had to endure in order to survive. For those of you who are somehow unaware of what's happening, it all began just a few days ago when the police were called to Nicki's house because one of her neighbors claimed that they heard multiple shots coming from her property. The person who made the call even went as far as claiming that Nicki had been by a friend of hers and that she was lying down unconscious with multiple wounds. But guess what, y'all? The police later found out that it was a SWAT call and that the person who made the call completely made it up to waste their time and possibly put Nicki and her family in danger. I mean, imagine if the cops had pulled up ready to, because they thought there was an intruder, and then accidentally ended up firing at Nicki or her 4-year-old son. A lot of things could have gone wrong, but clearly the person who made the call thinks it's funny to not only endanger Nicki, but to also waste the police time. In fact, the cops were reportedly hesitant to reveal the exact house they received the call for. But Nicki's messy neighbor ran to TMZ and told them that it was Nicki's house. Not only that, but the reason caught people's attention and made them wonder if there was something shady going on is because it wasn't. The first time that Nicki's house had been swatted, so the police should have been investigating by now. However, the police haven't been making any effort to find the person responsible. In June 2023, for example, someone called the police to report that Nicki and her husband were inappropriately playing with their 4-year-old son. The entire police force was present, and according to sources who spoke to TMZ, Nicki was extremely irritated to see them on her property with their sirens flashing all over her face. A little more than a month later, the police were called to her house again, and this time the caller claimed that Nicki had been fired, but this time she wasn't playing. Actually engaged a team to investigate the calls, and guess what? They were able to identify the caller within a few days. This indicates that the police were deliberately avoiding investigation, leading people to assume that it was because they were being paid to do nothing. Nicki came out and tweeted about it, asking, "To the woman who made those swatting calls, to my house, was it worth it, Dumbo?" In another tweet, Stephanie Bell, a warrant is in the system. Excellent detective work, and I'm grateful that the DA filed 1 count for the swatting call and 1 for the false report to DCFS. To God be the glory. This whole situation has people talking, because it's one thing for a celebrity's house to be swatted, but it's another for the police to deliberately do nothing about it. Nicki literally had to find her own people to do the job that the police should have done, find out who was disturbing her and her family, and some even conjectured that this is why she is one of the few well-known celebrities with a broad following who actively speaks out against the corrupt practices of the industry, and she occasionally even goes so far as to name names. Do you recall when she was fighting with Megan and then jumped on X to lash out at Jay-Z and Desiree Perez? These are the 2 people that everyone knows not to mess with, and Nicki did it carelessly. She tweeted about spending a ton of money, but she's the little broke independent artist DZ. You have to let it go, baby. Stop fucking attempting to get fetch Bigfoot. It's already 2. I just released a song without any promotion or video.
If that Rock Nation brunch got you feeling like you could talk about my family, and I have a 3-year-old innocent child. I've had my home swatted twice with drawn. They magically, no one seemed to find the person.
If you'd spit Jay-Z out for a second, you'd be able to be happy for the newcomers, wouldn't you? You guys tried to damage my reputation by saying I'm not welcoming new girls and did songs with all of them. But why aren't you happy for a young black man like Kai tomorrow? As if this wasn't bad enough, she came out against popular hip-hop journalist Elliot Wilson for his association with Jay after he attacked her for doing a live stream with Kai's Elliot.
You know how many tweets I've seen you post disrespecting me? Idiot Wilson. All of y'all, for some reason, y'all are around certain people. feel that y'all have this power? Why, when y'all have an affiliation to Jay-Z in some sort of way, y'all be thinking that y'all can disrespect and violate?
But it doesn't end there. A few months ago, YouTuber Storm Monroe disclosed that Jay-Z and his group were allegedly responsible for Nicki's arrest for possession in Amsterdam. Nicki's team reportedly had a paid mole who was compensated to provide information about Nicki's daily activities. It is said that this mole assisted Jay and his associates in setting Nicki up.
So let's get into the intel that I was told. So what I was told was that allegedly Jay-Z and Roc Nation is behind this. Jay-Z and Roc Nation has been after Nicki for a while, especially after she released that song, Bigfoot. But even long before then, there had been beef, which I did not realize. So from what I'm being told, let me read the intel as it's coming in. That's why they waited till she was overseas to do this to her. Roc Nation wanted to make sure that when she got arrested or apprehended for whatever, because in the industry they can get you set up all kinds of charges, all right? It said that they wanted to make sure her husband was not with her because her husband is her protection, which we know that, but we know bankrupt Nicki. And this is why there has been several stories planted about her being broke, going broke, or needing to constantly tour because she's close to being broke. So listen, this was absolute setup and sabotage. And if I was Nicki, I would fire my whole team. Fire the whole security team. There is a mole. Get rid of them all. There is a mole. Because now that I think about it, Roc Nation got Mig. The only competition that Nicki has is Mig. Let's keep it real. It ain't Lotto. It ain't Mocha Latte. What's the other rappers out here? There's nobody. It ain't Cardi. I know y'all wanted it to be Cardi. It ain't Cardi. She was absolutely set up. Also, Tory Lanez was supposed to sign the Roc Nation first, and the second option was Meg. See? But y'all remember when Tory Lanez's daddy said, "This is Roc Nation." We all thought he was crazy.
Because you are carrying...
I'm not carrying.
But it's not a question you use. I think it is.
I'm not carrying. Number one, when I came here, the back.
Go inside.
No, I'm not going in there. I need a lawyer present.
You will get it.
No, I need a lawyer present now.
Okay, please.
Where am I going? I have no idea where I'm going.
You have to go to the police station.
What address is that?
It's 5 minutes away.
It's 5 minutes away.
What's the address of the police precinct?
When you will catch your next show, we have to do it very fast. And we will help, but...
You're talking about my show?
Yes.
What about it?
In other words, Nicki was supposed to kick off the European leg of her Pink Friday Sec tour with her first show in Amsterdam, but the show was cancelled due to a mess with the feds, who have been trying to stop me from attending every show. They took my bags before I could see them and put them on the plane, saying they're waiting on customs. This is what it looks like when people are paid a lot of money to try to sabotage a tour after everything else has failed. Everything they've done is illegal. Nicki also jumped on Twitter and accused a specific group of attempting to sabotage her tour and stealing money from her. They have been harassing her and conducting needless searches at the airport all the time, but at one point they decided to go all out and accuse her of transporting drugs. They also accused her manager of stealing between $30,000 and $40,000 from her every time she boards a plane, and lying to her about the cost of the flight when she asks, "Oh, Nicki is really rich, y'all, because why the hell did it take her this long to realize someone was stealing this much money from her on a daily basis?" They took my luggage, and when I asked where it was, they said it was on the plane. I have been paid a lot of money to try to ruin my tour because so many people are upset that it's so successful, and they can't take advantage of me. They were caught stealing money from my travel jet and were fired, so they tried to force me to book another jet every time. I fired management because I discovered that they had been adding $30 to $50K to my jet for years and pocketing it. I recently fired a tour manager who was doing the same thing, and he was fired because he was angry. Their goal is to make me late and pocket $40K. Nicki is certain that something is attempting to find her, And although it sounds crazy, people think she might be onto something because too many things are going on for it to be a coincidence. In fact, Nicki recently moved to New York, and she posted about it on social media. When she did this cryptic post, showcasing her view from the building, she was obviously telling those pursuing her that she isn't afraid because they can easily figure out where she is by using some of the buildings that appeared in her video. As usual, people have their own opinions, such as this one who stated, "Nicki just bought that home not long ago. Her moving from place to place won't alter anything. Someone is trying to harm her in some manner, and I chastise them for it. I pray that God protects her and her kid from all danger and injury." I want to hear what you think about someone else saying that those who swat or fabricate police complaints should face the harshest penalties possible. God forbid someone's child suffers because of someone's ignorance. Please leave your views in the space provided below, and don't forget to click here to view this additional nasty video. What do you think about Nicki's house getting swatted? Do you think they are actually attempting to get her out?